Alright, I'm looking at a drawing. Actually, that's a lie. This is a photocopy of a drawing. It just turned midnight. It's a new day. It's Sunday, the Sunday before Easter. There's a young man that I work for, that I serve, that saw me drawing a picture of a little husky pup named Bravo, and he was very eager for me to draw him a picture at work, at the workplace. And he said, could you draw me a picture of Batman? I said, but of course. So while I was earning good taxpayer dollars, time and a half to do some overtime earlier this week, I decided to draw him a picture of Batman. And it turned out pretty good. The funny thing is, I draw with my left hand. I write with my right hand, but I draw with my left hand. So try to figure that one out. Drawing is one of those things that I enjoy a lot. And even though I'm not the best at it in the world, kind of like golf, it's just one of those things that you still enjoy, and it's worth doing. So it really made my day to make this drawing for him, and I taped it on the inside of his door, and he really got a kick out of it. He's a big fan of Batman, and I must admit, so am I. Batman gets into a lot of scrapes and a lot of troubles in his adventures today, and let me get this here again. And war is hell, and I guess Batman's war on crime takes a lot of toll on his body and his mind and his spirit. God of war. Today at work, it was war. Another souvenir I got was another trip to the hospital bracelet. I had a altercation. There were two teenage boys that do not like each other, and a racial slur was thrown into the mix, and that's kind of like the spark that lit off the powder keg, and there was an explosion. And luckily nobody got hurt but me, and got my knee banged up, and my forearm was about as swollen as Popeye. I kind of looked like a one-armed Popeye with a huge forearm for a while, but the swelling's gone down. The good news is I'm going to be fine. So went back to work and showed the world that I'm fine. And for those people that don't believe me, I guess I can do some push-ups to set the record straight. All right. Feels painful, but I think everything works. So tomorrow I should be able to get in my 300 push-ups. I'm trying to do 300 push-ups a day, and that's what I asked the doctor is, am I going to be able to do my push-ups tomorrow? And he said, yeah, I think so. So if that's the case, then I can go back to work. Now, I got so much to talk about right now, and I don't know where to begin. I stopped at Fishtails on the way into work today, and of course I didn't have my camera, because taking my camera to the workplace for the moment is against the rules. But I stopped in and bought a soda and asked Corey, the boss of Fishtails, if he had a roll of quarters that he could sell me. And he did. So I gave him $10, and I bought a can of soda for $2 with a $2 bill and told him to keep the change. He got a kick out of that, which was good. Now I have a story about a roll of quarters that I told in my 2009 video journal, but I kind of have a new one now. A coworker of mine recently had a $10 roll of quarters stolen from him at the workplace, and that sucks. And I made a joke to him about a roll of quarters and how I always keep my roll of quarters in my pants so it never gets stolen, and he laughed about that because, you know, kind of an off humor joke, but it was funny at the time, and it really made him smile. Now this is where it kind of gets weird. I also wrote that young man a letter and gave him $10 and $2 bills, and in that letter I told him, when enough, bad things happen to good people, they can stop becoming good people. And I just wanted to give him a gesture that, it sucks when bad things happen, but What all it usually takes to make things right is one person to do something kind of nice and go out of their way to be nice to someone to set things right. Like that picture of Batman I drew, I went on my way to make a little kid's day, and it really, really paid off. And the wheel of karma turned today and squashed me like a bug and gave me an injury, but things happen for a reason. And I'm hoping that inside of this roll of quarters is an Alaskan quarter. Whenever I do a good deed, and I think drawing that Batman picture for that young boy, because he was really excited about it. He really liked it. Whenever I do something great, I try to reward myself a little bit. And what I do is I buy a roll of quarters in the hopes that I might find an Alaskan quarter inside there. Okay, we got Vermont. We got Maryland. We got a regular. We got Illinois. We got Louisiana. We got New York. This is not going well. I've done some math, and from what I can tell, about 38% of the quarters that I get these days are those state quarters. So if you... Kansas has a buffalo on it, and every time I see a Kansas one, I get my hopes up because it looks a lot like the bear. But a bear and a buffalo are definitely different. Roughly translated, my odds of getting an Alaskan quarter in a roll of quarters are about 1 in 3, from what I can tell. And I'm halfway through, and I've got nothing. 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 And Georgia peach, that makes me think of my coworker Chrissy, because she has a t-shirt that says something about peace, and the first time I thought it said peach, because she is a peach. And Massachusetts, double Massachusetts. Connecticut, New York, Kentucky, and Maryland. So I had 40 chances to get an Alaskan quarter, and I came up with nothing. So all these quarters are going to go into the Deadly Farts jar to be recycled. And maybe someday later on, I'll do something good, something worthwhile, and I will get myself another roll of quarters. Now, allegedly, I know who stole the roll of quarters from my coworker at work. I have given her a nickname as well, as I seem to give everybody nicknames these days. And her nickname was the Vacuum Cleaner Princess. And from what I've heard around the water cooler is that the Vacuum Cleaner Princess no longer works out by us at Winnebago Mental Health. And I think what I'm going to do is make a double feature this weekend and put 2 videos on Facebook instead of 1. And if anybody on Facebook that sees this video knows the name of the Vacuum Cleaner Princess, she was a housekeeping lady that worked out at Winnebago Mental Health, I would like her name. I know her first name, and if someone knows her first and last name, I'm going to investigate and try to find out what her name was. And I'd like to get in contact with her because she really, really, really made a difference, kind of like I did with the Batman picture for a little boy. She really, really, really made a difference in the life of a young, blind child. And every time she was in the room and her voice was heard, that young boy's eyes just lit up and he smiled and he was very happy. And I think that she deserves, something. I don't know what it is. Maybe a letter, or maybe a phone call, or maybe a nod. But I noticed that, and like I said, the reason I carry a 50-cent piece in my shoe is because when I was 4 years old, I stole a 50-cent piece, not this 50-cent piece, from my grandpa Bob's nightstand. So I robbed basically my own grandmother and my own grandfather when I was 4 years old. And why on earth would I do that? Why on earth would I do that? And a lot of people would say, why on earth would a young lady risk her job to steal a roll of quarters, And this is all, what's the word I'm looking for? Hearsay. I don't know the facts of the matter. She does, and so does Grandpa Bob. But people are capable of good things and bad things, and there is good and bad inside of all of us. And when something bad happens, it's so easy to forget everything good that you have ever done because people will just focus on that bad thing. So, and I tend to do that myself. I can't let this 50-cent piece go. I've had this in my shoe for forever. I could just say, get over it. You were 4, you didn't know any better, but I did know better. I knew the difference of right and wrong at 4 years old, and that's why I carry this 50-cent piece in my shoe, and I'll carry it there always. So if anybody can help me out and has the name of our coworker, our former coworker, or her address or phone number and wants to share it with me, I'll give you 50 cents.